Hey, welcome to Life in the Leadership Lane. I'm your host, Bruce Waller, where I get to talk to leaders that are making a difference in the workplace and in our communities. What did they do to get started? And what are they doing to stay there? And oh my goodness, here we go. Bringing you another special guest today as I'm getting to talk to Joel Zeff. Joel, well, he's a national keynote speaker. He's an MC, he's an award host, he's a humorist, and he's an author of his new book, Make the Right Choice, Lead with Passion, Elevate Your Team, and Unleash the Fun at Work. Joel, so good to have you on the show. How you doing, man?
Great, Bruce. Thanks for the fantastic introduction. Great to reconnect after all these years and appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
Of course, I always like to start the show with just kind of some reflection with my guests. And some of my guests I hadn't met yet. So I like to, like, when did they come into my path? And then others I've met. For you, I want to see if we can go back here. And we were talking real briefly before we started recording. But for you, I remember seeing you at the HR Southwest conference. You were an MC. And at the time, you were in the marketplace. You had a microphone and you were talking to someone. I just remember thinking, wow, man, that guy is doing a great job. I love how he engages everybody. Do you remember that?
I do remember the HR Southwest conference. I don't necessarily remember the video, but my
The-
guess is when you saw me, you did not say, "Oh, that guy's great." You probably go, "Wow, that guy is loud. Why is he so loud in the trade show booth area? He's so loud." That's probably what your first reaction was.
well, I know I think have you been a keynote speaker at that event as well?
Yeah, I've done HR Southwest. I think I've done it twice.
Okay. Yeah.
It may be three times. I'd have to go back. I know I was a keynote speaker, and this was years ago.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they would used to put huge advertisements in the newspaper, in the Dallas Morning News. And I remember, and I didn't know this, and I remember opening, back in the, you guys remember newspapers? And you open up the big newspaper, and there's this huge ad with my face in it with HR Southwest. And I think the year that I was a speaker, I'm not 100%. I think Joan London might have been one of the
Okay.
keynotes that year too, but there were some big names. And there
Hmm.
was like there I still have it somewhere, but there were some big names, and then there was me.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
they had a
love
little
that.
money left over, and they
Have a
said,
little bit
ah,
money left over for Joel. I love that.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
Joel's cheap, he's fun, he's
yeah.
loud. And so and then they brought me back as an MC. I might have MC'd twice, I can't
Yeah.
remember. But it's an amazing conference.
Yeah.
I love speaking to HR professionals. I love the passion that they have, and to bring the energy and talk about some of my messages about change and leadership and teamwork. And more importantly, just create some fun and laughter because,
Mm.
HR professionals, it's pretty as you know, stressful job.
Mm.
And so for them to take a moment to laugh, to connect, to create some energy, and it was just my honor to be the person that was bringing that to the conference.
I love that. And I want to get into your new book, Make the Right Choice. And I love the last part, Unleash the Fun at Work. I definitely want to get into that. But before we do, I want I don't know, the listeners to learn a little bit more about you. Share a little bit about, like, where'd you grow up and how in the world did you become a world-class keynote speaker?
So grew up in Kansas City, went to the University of Kansas, proud Jayhawk, have a journalism degree. I was a newspaper reporter.
Hmm.
That's how I started my career. And my first job was in Michigan, Saginaw, Michigan, outside of Detroit. And then the Dallas Times Herald, we used to have two newspapers here in Dallas. And the Times Herald recruited me out of Michigan. And so I came and worked that's how I got to Dallas. And 6 months after I joined, Bruce, the paper closed, which is a story that I tell in my book, chapter two, my favorite chapter, because it's a story about a magic harmonica, losing my job and a magic harmonica. And so I had a lot of free time after I lost my job, as people usually do. A lot of free time. So, when I wasn't giving blood, I started doing stand up. I started doing stand up comedy, and I started doing improv comedy. And I joined an improv troupe and realized I still needed to pay rent and eat. So I worked at a PR agency and then an ad agency. But I had these two different worlds, improv comedy world,
Mm,
this comedy world, this very corporate PR world.
mm,
And I was kind of slowly, the worlds were slowly trying to find a way to combine. And one of my PR clients was Texas Instruments,
mm,
and they were having a retreat. And they said, "Hey, I know you do improv on the weekends. Can you come up and do some of that for us before dinner? We have this executive retreat happening." And that's what happened. I said, "Okay." I took another performer with me. We didn't have a plan. There weren't messages. We weren't like, let's see what we can learn. We're just doing improv games for 20 VP level men from a technology company, but they had fun. More importantly, I had fun. And that's when the light bulb started flickering.
mm.
And I said, well, maybe I could do this for other clients. And I didn't have a plan other than I get someone's going to give me a $50 Chili's gift card and I'm going to do some improv games. That was that was pretty much it. If you gave me a hoodie, man, and maybe some gift cards, whew, I was living the dream, living the dream. And just one thing led to another. And then 1997, I did an event for Allstate Insurance. And again, there was no plan.
Mhm.
And I had a production company that I was working with create a video. They came and recorded and we did a video and I started sending that out on VHS tapes. It's a lot of old man talk so far. Newspapers, VHS tapes, and then I recorded an album and we called on a rotary phone. I started sending that video out. It's just like anything,
Mm,
if you have passion for something, you love what you do,
yeah.
people share it and they gravitate toward you. And then, 2,500 events later, I'm
Mm,
talking to you, Bruce. We're on the
mm.
podcast.
I love that. How many times do you speak a year? Like 2024. Do you
I
have that
think
number?
50, 55, somewhere in
Okay.
there
Yeah.
is usually that number. Around that number is my happy spot because some of those days, some of those 55 events are multiple day events.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
it doesn't count. It's not really one day, it's 2 or 3 days.
Mm,
But that's where I'm too few and I'm like, I gotta work. And too many, you're just running around and you're
mm.
losing your energy and so that's the good number
I
around
love
there.
your story because, and especially you're throwing in here the newspaper, the VHS tapes. I'm like, I can relate, man.
Yeah.
But I love the story how you talked about how you're trying to figure out how to collide with like
Yeah.
work and passion, like something that brings you real joy. How do you bring that all together? And you just kept moving forward. And I love all of that because I think that's what happens for a lot of us is that we start down this path and we find different things we like, but we don't know how to like get there.
Yeah.
We just keep working. We're like, but I like doing this and just bringing those together. We're there. I always like to talk about mentors and people that like help us because I feel like that for high performers, it's a common thread. They have people that helped them get to where they really wanted to go. Were there any people like was there anybody that really helped you? Maybe share a couple of people that helped you, and maybe a couple of like traits that
Yeah.
that they had that really helped you.
There were a lot of people. I think nobody becomes successful without help and
Mm,
without um, guidance and it's really magic how I find myself from one event to another
mm,
because the majority of the time it's somebody who saw me, who recommended me, who referred me to
mm,
their friend, to their spouse, to their coworker, to their manager. And I'll give you a perfect example. My book, Make the Right Choice, has
mm,
that point behind me. I was speaking at Cinemark,
mm,
and the client wanted to purchase 120 copies of my previous book.
mm,
And I said, well, during the pandemic, this is 2023, during the pandemic, the publisher released a few copies. They don't have as many copies. It's been hard for my clients to get copies. And they said, well, we want 100 and I think 120. We want 120 copies. And I said, well, I guess I can contact the publisher and see if I can, get some books. And they're like, great, let's do that. And I just let that sit on my to-do list and figured, nah, It's not even worth the bother. And then the client, because she gets things done, uh, calls me and said, where are we on those books? And so what I did was, okay, so I sent an email to the publisher and they said, sure. Wiley's my publisher. They said, sure, we can print copies. And how many do you need for the next 6 months for your other clients? I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, how did this happen? Then they said, hey, what about doing a revised edition of the book, which is basically a brand new book with new cover, new subhead, 5 new chapters. Each chapter's other chapters, original chapters are revised. All this happens because of my Cinemark client. So where did Cinemark come from? Well, I was speaking at an event for a company called Crunch Time, which is a technology company that works with hospitality clients. Someone at Cinemark saw me at Crunch Time. So that's how so Crunch Time helped me get Cinemark, which helped me get to the book. How did I get Crunch Time? Well, I spoke at this event called Chart. They do training for hospitality hotels, and they're an amazing group. Well, I was speaking at their event. Someone at Crunch Time saw me at Chart. Someone at Crunch Time recommended me to Cinemark. Cinemark wanted 100 copies.
Mm.
All that happened because of 3, 4, 5 people. And that's my whole career. You're
Yeah.
saying, well, who's your mentor? Who helped you?
Yeah.
Every person who hired me, every person, especially at the beginning, who took a chance on me.
Yeah.
There's a client, a property management client called JPI, and they would call me all the time and say, we got 30 people, 40 people from accounting, 50 people from, we're bringing our HR people. Can you come in? And I would just, you know, it wasn't about the money. It was just about creating,
Mm.
working and building your career and connecting. And there's just a host of clients like
Mm.
that all referred me, hired me, especially at the beginning,
Mm.
that said, you would be great for our event. Come have some fun. And I'm in my 20s
Mm.
when I first started speaking. What do I know? I'm just a loud kid, that can do improv and create some energy and
Mm.
fun. And the messages kind of evolved. And all those companies, all those clients that brought me back, referred me, um, that's really why I'm here today,
Mm.
or all those people. And it's amazing. It really is. And I'm just so fortunate that the clients love what I do. But I also, you take care of your clients and you help them and support them, and when you first start your business, it shouldn't be about how much money can I make.
Mhm.
It's about what do you love? What would you do for free?
Mm.
And I was doing it for free. And if you gave me, a gift card, believe me, I could tell
Yeah.
you many stories
Yeah.
about getting a paperweight, a hoodie, and a and a
So
and a, and a
good.
Chili's gift card.
I love that.
But if you love what you do,
Yeah.
it's not about the money. And eventually the money will come.
Yeah.
Follow your passion, follow what you love. That's what anytime I get a chance to talk to students, Bruce, that's the first thing I say. What do you love to do?
Yeah.
What's just gonna inspire you? What do you just gravitate toward?
Yeah.
And if anybody, I talk to somebody and they're like, I'm at a crossroads. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know I don't want to do this. Well, what do you love?
Mm.
I bet you there's a way to make money.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
tell
company
people all the
that does
time.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time. It really is true. And I think Ziegler might have said it. When you find the work you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It's not a myth. It's true. As
it
you
is.
shared, though, I was thinking about this quote. And
I
the
love
quote was
quotes.
by Simon Sinek. It said it takes a long time to become an overnight success.
That's true.
And I was thinking about you, how you talked about from crunch time to Cinemark to all to the book. I mean, how like it's all about doing the little things every single day to
Yeah.
get to where you want to go. And I'm glad you shared that because there's listeners right now that are like, most people see the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And I want them to see that, you know what, if you decide, make the decision, number one, to do what you want to do and just start doing it, then one day you'll look back and go, wow, and people will be asking you, how'd you do that? Let's talk about your book. I do want to hear this harmonica story, by the way, because I have a harmonica and I can play one tune on it. Happy birthday, because people
That's pretty
love
good.
it.
I get my,
And so I wanna talk to you. You talked about why you wrote the book. I love that. But talk about a couple of things in the book that people will resonate with, and what you like to share on stage around that.
I think about being happy at work, having fun, because that I think is the foundation for great leadership, great teamwork, finding success during change and disruption, great communication. And I think we lose our way. We start making decisions that aren't based on fun. When we're young, every decision, my kids are 18 and 22, probably 95% of their decisions are based on, is this fun? Right? Do I want to go to school here? Am I going to have fun? Am I going to
Yeah.
take this class? Is it fun? Am I going to do this internship? Is it fun? Do I want to go out and do this? Is it fun? Every decision is based on fun.
Hmm.
And if it's not based on fun, they figure out a way to make it fun. And then as we get older, we start making decisions that aren't based on fun. They're based on career or family or responsibility or finances. And we wake up, and next thing you know, you have all these decisions that you made, and they're adding up, and you realize you're not having fun, you're not
Hmm.
passionate about your job, and you're not happy. And if you're not happy, you're not fulfilled. And so the book is really all the messages that I talk about in my keynote, things that I've learned that improv taught me. More importantly, after doing 2,500 events, so that's thousands of audience
Hmm.
volunteers have jumped on stage with me because I use audience volunteers with improv.
Hmm.
And for those listening or watching improv, there's no script, there's no rehearsal, there's no
Hmm.
plan. And so all these audience volunteers, tens of thousands, right? If I did 2,500 events, tens of thousands, and I probably 10, an average of 10 volunteers, that's a
A
lot of
lot.
numbers. I don't know. Math's hard.
Where's my calculator?
I don't know. That's why I'm a speaker, so I don't have to do
Uh,
math. And so watching them make all these choices
yeah.
and how they worked together as a team and how they led and how they communicated and how they innovated. And so all that you talk about that lifetime of learning, it's
Yeah.
all that. And then I'm putting in a book so with easy for the reader to engage, easy quick ideas, things to think about when we talk about change and teamwork and work culture and having fun at work, because that's the most important thing. And fun means a lot of different things. Fun isn't all about we're laughing and being silly. Fun
Hmm.
is finding success.
Hmm.
It's accomplishing, it's helping people. Fun means a lot of different things to everyone. What is it that's fun for you that's going to fulfill you and reward you?
I love
Did
all of
I
that.
did
Oh,
I
that's so
answer your
good.
question?
Well,
Was I
yeah,
close?
and I love that because it's kind of like I in my book Drive with Purpose, chapter one is you got to define success. That's where it all starts. Like it's
Sure.
something different for everyone, and I didn't really think about that when you started talking about fun. But as you shared that, it's the same way with fun. You have to define what is that to you. For some
Right.
people, fun is like driving revenue. Or some people, it's like, bringing process or bringing change. I mean, it's something
Yeah.
different for everybody. So I think it's important. I love that. Define fun. As a matter of fact, I just wrote that down. Define fun. If you are listening right now, you like get your pen out, get your journal out. There is some gold here. Define fun. That's the first thing I wrote down. I love that. Talk about I don't know what when you walk away, what do you hope people are sharing, or what do you hear? Because you probably get a lot of testimonies
Yeah.
from whenever attendees attend your performance. What do you typically hear, and what do you like to hear, and what are you hoping to hear?
Well, I'm hoping to hear laughter. That's
Yeah.
number one.
Mm,
I like to hear a lot of
mm,
laughter.
okay.
And I say one of the first things I say is like if this is the only thing you get out of the next hour is that you laughed and you had fun,
Mm,
I'm cool because there's no better way to spend an hour with your peers and colleagues than laughing and having fun. It builds respect, it creates a bond, it connects us, it creates team.
mm,
It is so important to have fun and laugh together.
mm.
And so, but through that laughter, I want to talk about these great messages that improv taught me about the importance of creating opportunity and
Mm,
positive support. We all want that opportunity. We want that positive support. Unfortunately, those are the two things we don't receive enough of, and then we're not
mm,
happy. The first thing I bring, again, I bring audience volunteers up to the stage. I'm going to give them the opportunity to be accountable, to take ownership, to be creative, to work together as a team. I'm giving them that opportunity. The audience, through their laughter and applause, is giving them positive support. So
mm,
now they're building that foundation. And when the audience says, how did my manager do that? Or how did my friend do that? They were funny and creative
mm,
because we created this foundation, which is the same foundation that we all need to be successful at work. And as leaders, you have to ask, are you giving opportunity and positive support to the people around you? Are you
mm.
saying thank you and I appreciate you? And if you aren't, then we've got to
Yeah.
reflect. I say go every day, go home, think about all the people you had contact with tomorrow, because we just went through the list. Tomorrow,
Mm,
make sure you give them that appreciation. Send them a note, email them, text them, I don't care. And then match it with opportunity. We all want something different at our jobs, different role, different
mm,
responsibility. We want to be creative. We want the opportunity to have more training or to go to a conference. All those are opportunities. What is it that's going to make you happy and fulfilled?
mm,
So I want my audience to figure that out. And when you put those two things together, amazing what people can accomplish. That's just one
mm,
tidbit that we talk about. We talk about teamwork and asking the question how we help people around us be successful,
mm,
answering it and acting on it. How do I help the people around me be successful? That's
mm,
what makes improv work. We talk about change, being more open and flexible, being more prepared for change.
mm.
Because remember, improv, there's no script. So it's constant
I
change and
love that.
disruption. Being more present in the moment. All these messages that improv taught me, I'm going to share with my audience, and I want them to walk out in a great mood,
Mm,
energized, feeling great. There's nothing better.
I love
Really,
that.
there's nothing better.
I love all
And
that.
and and when people come up to me sometimes, Bruce, afterwards, and they said, "Well, we had a hard time,
Mm,
or just went through a layoff, a merger,
mm,
or even I'm gonna tell you right now what the most emotional is somebody comes up to me and says, somebody passed away, and this is the
mm,
first time that I've laughed in a long time. That just absolutely just you're like, oh my God,
mm.
this is why I do it. Or I've had people come up to me and said, I'm going through chemotherapy. And this is the first time that I've laughed in a long time, or
Mm,
gave myself permission to laugh. Stories like that,
mm,
when people come up to you, I'm
mm.
like, wow, that's worth everything. It is just absolutely why you do it, and it's very. I'm very lucky and fortunate that I get to do this, and I
Yeah.
always say it chose me. This industry, this profession, it chose me. This is what
Mm.
you're going to do, Joel. And I'm talking to my about myself in third person. This is what you're going to do, and this is your life, and this is what you're supposed to do. And I absolutely believe that.
I love that. I love all that. When you talked about, sharing appreciation, change, I had somebody on the show one time share that they have kind of the saying back at work, and they say, it's easy and it's really hard. It's really easy to tell someone thank you. For
Yeah.
some reason, we're so busy.
Oh,
It
yeah.
makes it so hard to do. Hey, I want to ask you I gave you a few questions before we came on. I love all this. But one of the things I was thinking about was you talked about how, one event led you to another event, and all these people have been just a gift for
Yep.
you and a blessing because they have helped you continue to build what you've built today. I want to ask you though, I had somebody ask me one time, they were talking about relationships and they want to talk about how do you build them? How do you keep them? And how do you strengthen them? How do you build, keep, strengthen relationships? Because you've been doing this for a long time. You've got a lot of great relationships. I don't know, any thoughts around that?
I think it's making time for that connection.
Hmm.
I LinkedIn I think is a fantastic way
Yeah.
to That's how we connect. Well, I'm here on the podcast because of LinkedIn, reaching out and connecting.
Hmm.
So,
And by the
ta-da!
way, yeah, and by the way, you reached out. I mean, you had to take action on that
Yeah,
as well, right?
yeah. You can't be afraid to meet somebody new, or we met a long time ago,
Of
but
course.
have that connection, and you'd be surprised what you get if you
Mm,
ask.
mm,
And I think, especially the younger generations, have a hard time understanding that people generally want to help each other.
yes.
They're generally good. They want to make that connection
Mm,
because it makes them feel great, right? Helping
mm.
somebody. You know, what I love, I absolutely love is speaking at an event and then saying to the client, hey, I'd love to recommend a couple keynotes for your event next year.
I love
And
that. Adding
then,
value.
yeah, adding value, absolutely right, making that connection,
Yeah.
right? And then I get to I get to give you a couple of my friends. Now, I'm going to recommend you. You're going to be great. I'm not going to just
Mm,
because you're my friend, I'm not going to recommend you. I have lots of friends that are speakers. I don't
sure.
recommend all of them,
Sure.
but I do, want to recommend. And then
Mm,
what's really awesome is then they recommend you.
mm.
If you don't give, you're not going to receive. And you can't just give hoping, oh, I'm going to get something back from this. Be just feel great
Yeah.
about adding value,
Mm,
helping people. I help my client. It's hard finding a speaker. And it's not just speakers. I've recommended AV companies,
mm,
photographers,
mm,
website people,
mm.
a podcast studio that I've recommended to clients. It just, I don't, I want anything, I'm not expecting anything
Love that.
back in return. What I'm getting is making that connection with the person I'm recommending, making that connection with the person I'm recommending to. I think it's just taking time, being positive, being
Yeah.
supportive.
Love that.
I love, like, on LinkedIn, you see a client of mine, she hired me once years ago and is retiring. And I, just put a little note on her LinkedIn. Is that what's going to come back to me? I don't know, but
Mm,
I want her to feel great and know that I appreciated that moment that we had together when she hired me to speak at her event years ago. Probably, I don't know, might have been 2017,
mm.
18, something like that. And so it's not all about what am I getting. You can't think that way.
Yeah.
Be positive and feel great about helping other people.
Yeah.
And it's not all about, I've talked to several times, talked to other speakers, and there are speakers that are very tied up in this is my fee. And if you don't have my fee, I'm not going to do the event. And I said, that's just not the right way. I don't think that's the right philosophy. And you have to take everything into consideration. You have a gift and you have to share that gift. Yes, I
Yeah.
want you to be compensated for it. But sometimes there's certain opportunities that it's not about the money. It's
Mm.
just about the joy and it's about bringing that energy to a group that deserves it.
I love it. Make the right choice. I cannot wait to dive into this book. As you shared that, I thought about in my latest book, Drive with Purpose, I talk about the 100-0 rule, and that's basically give 100%, expect zero. And that's
And
what
you
you're basically saying.
and you get stuff back,
Yeah,
right?
and you just get the stuff back. It's just so
It comes
good.
back all the time,
I love that.
right?
I love
People want
that.
to work with people that help them, that add
That's
value, that are
right.
fun to work with, that are you know, I what's really great is when you create a friendship
Mm,
with a client. That is really
mm,
special
yeah.
when there's a friendship, not just a social media friendship,
Mm,
but a friendship where you go out for lunch or you go to a football game. I have a client, American Gem Society,
mm,
jewelers, and they're having a board meeting in Vegas, and they invited me. They're going to go to the football game. It was the Chiefs Raiders, and they're like, "Hey, you should come out and go to the game with us and go out to dinner." I'm not working. I'm not. It's not business, but it's a connection that you made over years, creating that friendship, and that just means the world to me. And it was
mm.
had a great time. I loved it. It was so much fun. And I try to put all these ideas and thoughts in the book.
Yeah.
Each chapter has ideas as far as building that positive work culture,
Hmm.
being a successful leader, creating, just making sure that you're passionate, that you're having fun. And I wanted the book to be fun and engaging, just like my keynotes. There's plenty of business books that are very serious and, you know, uh, I wanted it to be fun and engaging. And so the reader just kind of, they're drawn into that fun and they enjoy it. And they're more open to the message when you're having fun and you retain it. You
I
retain
love
the
it.
message.
I love it. I'm going to put the link in the show notes as we wind down here. Is that book also on Audible?
Yes. And you,
That's fantastic.
okay,
Are
funny
you reading
story.
it?
Uh, they, everybody asked that, Bruce. They did not ask me to do the Audible. The publisher Wiley said, "Hey, Audible, which is the company that
Hmm.
does those," and they said, "Hey, they selected you. They're going to do an Audible of your book." And I'm like, "Okay, great." And that's the last.
That
No
was
one
it.
said you should. Yeah, you should narrate it. No. So I'm having lunch with my wife and a friend, and she says, "I see George Newbern is narrating your book. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Congratulations." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I guess whatever. I don't know who George Newbern is. Sorry, George." My wife turns to me and goes, "What? George Newbern is narrating your book?" And I'm like, I guess. And she goes, "You don't know who he is?" I go, "I don't. I don't." He is an actor, and he was in Scandal. He had a
Oh.
big part in Scandal. He was the groom in Father of the Bride with Steve
Hmm.
Martin and Martin Short. Cult classic Adventures in the Babysitting. He was in that. He was in a 3 episode arc of Friends. He's in all. And so my wife was like, I go, it can't be the same George
Uh,
Newbern. He's not. He's a big time actor. He's also the animated voice of Superman.
hmm.
Yeah, so Superman's reading my book,
Wow.
Bruce.
That's
So
fantastic. And
I got that going.
my middle name is Wayne. So
Bruce
Bruce
Wayne.
Wayne,
Oh, how are
Superman,
you?
Bruce
You
Wayne.
you
It's
gotta
just,
lose your last name. You gotta lose your last name, Waller. You need to go by Bruce Wayne. So Superman, you're Bruce Wayne, and Superman's reading my book,
I love it.
and I go, it can't be the same guy. It is the same guy.
Same
He
guy.
he's
That is
he's got like a
fantastic.
side gig
I love
narrating,
that.
like a side gig narrating books, and so yeah, pretty
I love
awesome.
that. I love that. Well, we're winding down the show here. I usually like to say, hey, it's time to accelerate, but for you, I want to change it up just a little bit because I keep seeing these things on LinkedIn. I heard you share it earlier, and it's these two words, ta-da. I've heard you
Ta-da.
share that. I've seen that on LinkedIn. I want to do a little ta-da. Where did that come from?
Ta-da is about, when your kids are little and everything's ta-da. You're like you finish your cheese sandwich. You're like,
Yeah,
ta-da.
yeah.
You ate the sandwich. Everything, we celebrate everything when we're little kids, right? When I had my kids are older now, but when they're
Mm,
little, everything was a duh. And you celebrate because it's a flourish, it's excitement, it's a celebration. And what happens is whatever you're celebrating, they do more of. They get confident, they get a great body
mm,
language. You're like, yay,
mm,
ta-da, you know? And so as we get older, we still have these moments, but we don't celebrate them, right? We still have great moments where we do great
mm,
things, but we don't celebrate them.
mm.
We just think it's, well, this is just work. Bruce, you and I, we're doing this podcast.
Mhm.
Okay. But this is a ta-da moment.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! This is a big moment. Come on. And so that's where ta-da comes from. And so when I start off my keynotes, I get the whole audience. We do a ta-da,
Mm,
and we talk about the importance of celebrating these moments because what are they? It fuels our energy. It fuels our
mm,
passion. If we don't celebrate, we're not going to have the fuel. If we don't have the fuel, how do we have that passion for what we do? How do we love what we do? How do we uh, have great customer service or be great as a leader if we
mm,
don't celebrate and just fuel that tank, fuel that
mm.
passion? And that's what it's about. Having those moments, celebrating them, not once a year when we get a pointy glass award and eat a chicken rice pilaf dinner, which is great. But we have to celebrate every day these great moments, and it fuels us, and that's what ta-da is all about.
Joel Zeff, 10 years older, is knocking at your door, and you're going to go answer that door. What's he going to tell you?
I hope that he says, "Man, you rocked it. You had an
Yeah.
awesome time, and you made sure you had fun
Yeah.
as well. And you finally got to do that TEDx talk.
Mm.
Haven't done a TEDx. I'd
Mm.
like to do. I'd like to do a TEDx.
This has been so much fun. I have I've been smiling this whole podcast. You are incredible. I appreciate you coming on today, Joel. Hey, somebody that heard something you shared and they want to learn more, they want to connect, they want to follow you. What's the best way for them to connect?
Website, just my name, joelzeff.com.
Okay.
Has all the links, and that's a great place to start. My social media preference is LinkedIn, so I
Okay.
would love, yeah, connect with me. That's the best place to see what podcasts I've been doing, new writings, where I'm speaking, stories from the road, all that. LinkedIn is pretty easy to find me. I am.
I'll put the link in the show notes. It'll be very easy for you. Click that link, and whenever you connect with Joel, say, "Hey, I heard you on Life and Leadership Lane." Share something that he said that may have made some impact that makes the connection so much easier and better and stronger. And man, I appreciate you. I appreciate the work you're doing, and I cannot wait to kind of see what's ahead for you, Joel.
Thank you, Bruce. And I tell you what, when you post the podcast, I'm going to pick a great comment and I'll send a copy of my brand new book. So you gotta say something great about Bruce and me.
Oh, I love how you threw me in there. Ta-da!
Yeah.
I love
Ta-da.
that. Share
Yeah.
share a great comment. You may win
Bruce
a book.
Blaine.
This has been so fun. Grateful for you and grateful for our friendship. And I just look forward to more ahead. Keep doing what you're doing, my friend.
Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate the opportunity. I know it's a lot of work doing these podcasts. That's why I don't have a podcast.
Have a great day, buddy.